Welcome to the Steelers Realm Podcast. And now, here are the boys of Steelers Realm.
Good afternoon and evening and the day to Steelers Nation. For all of you that are still crying, I hope you tuned in for a little laughs, a little fun, a little lightheartedness. Most importantly, just to get a couple morons takes. And speaking of morons, without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce the morons that you'll be listening to tonight. I'm going to start off with first the hijacker, Mr. Nolan.
How's it going,
buddy?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. Yourself?
You didn't happen to. I thought I heard you call me a moron by chance.
Oh, absolutely. You did. You heard correctly. I'm glad your hearing's all right.
Oh, okay.
Because I got a lot to say tonight. So let's see if the other moron who's down in the ATL, who is surviving railroad school, is listening as well.
Yeah. I survived. I'm surviving railroad school, hurricanes. And I tell you what, you want to call me a moron? How about all of our listeners will hear more on why I think Justin Fields should be the quarterback moving forward.
Ooh,
let's go.
Look at that. So we've already started on, are we contenders or are we pretenders? Because of course that's the talk now that we've went ahead and dropped that game 27-24 against the loneliest Colts. We made them look like Super Bowl contenders this Sunday, boys and girls. And there's only one person to blame only, and that is the referees. No. I'm not going to let you get off that easy. Damn sure wasn't the referees. But I'm going to go ahead and Nolan, let's have your take, man. Let's hear. But before we do, hold on. Freight Train did mention about the hurricane. And my prayers and wishes want to go out to those who are in Steelers Nation and maybe not in Steelers Nation who did have to suffer through that. I hope everybody is out there. Our prayers are out there with you guys. Make sure if you can help out, man. Donations are welcome through Salvation Army, the Samaritan Purse, or other local relief efforts. Make sure you try to pitch in if you can. And then on another sad note, and then after that, we're going to go even sadder. I'm going to talk about the Steelers. But before we do, we're going to go ahead. And I also want to give a little rest in peace to the man, the myth, the legend. Pete Rose has passed away. For all you baseball fans out there, I know that Pete had a special place in everyone's heart, and that there's probably a good following out there that feels that he should be in the Hall. And, of course, now that he's passed away, I'm sure he will get in the Hall, which is a crying shame that we couldn't do it while he was alive.
Yeah, but, Manfred will do the right thing after he already denied him once. But
yeah, I'm sure the outcry will come now. I mean, everybody will want him in. But anyways, now to talk about the saddest of all, 24-27 shellacking that the Pittsburgh Steelers got. Nolan, hijacker, what's your first off the wall thought about this game, brother?
Let's go with I thought we kind of sucked most of the game, and we didn't play that well. We didn't bring our A game. We looked flat going into the game. Very disappointing. The defense, I don't know. I was told this was the number one defense, but it sure as hell did not look like that. And the offense, it got going in the second half at least, so we can take that away. Your boy Fields, he looked pretty damn good as well. And yeah, the coaching sucked as well. Could have been better. What about you?
Oh, no, it's not
that's not
quick and easy now. Hold on there, Nolan. I agree. I mean, they come out a little bit on the flat side. I'm not going to agree on the Fields part. You're going to get my take here in a minute.
Okay,
but,
great.
Most importantly, I also thought we were going up against the 31st ranked defense. Holy smokes, man. They came out to play. The physicality, they set the tone right off the get-go. Hey, I watched them punch us right in the kisser, and we never got up off the ground. But go ahead,
It
Freight Train.
honestly looked like we had the 30th first-ranked defense.
It absolutely did, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit. I'm a lot irritated for the simple fact of there was zero pass rush in this football game. You can't tell me the loss of Alex Highsmith is what really bottled up TJ Watt and Nick Herbig, who came off one of his best games in his career, having momentum moving forward. You get Anthony Richardson out of the game, you get the statue and Joe Flacco back there, and yet we couldn't get a pass rush. He's had all day to make plays back there. We just couldn't get off the field on defense. The offense, it's like we just get off to these slow starts and dig ourselves in a hole. Like, I need some of that second half offense in the first half. But I need to know what is going on with Najee Harris, because that is supposed to be a cornerstone of our offense. And he has 13 carries and averaged 1.5 yards per carry. But Cordero Patterson, who comes in, who's about 10 years older than him, comes in and has 6 carries and averages 7.2 yards a rip. Now, what is going on? Is Najee not hitting the holes? Is he just prolonging his runs on the outsides? But that needs to get fixed, because Najee is a big part of this offense. When he doesn't run, we become one-dimensional. We have to pass the ball, and then you have to put Fields out there to design some sort of run plays, kind of like they did the second half, because that's the only way they could score a freaking touchdown.
All right. Well, hitting upon a little bit of that about what's up with Najee. Look, the first 3 games of the year, we were all praising Najee. I mean, he had some pretty good runs of 70, 60, 70. They're about average. Still in the 3.6, but man, he was running with some physicality. This one here, I won't say that the holes weren't opening up, but the difference between him and Cordell is that Najee stuck to the play called. Cordell, on the other hand, had the sense to at least go opposite of what was called, which is why I think we had such big runs. There's a couple of them that he waited a couple of minutes, kind of little Lev Bell, seen the play develop and then shot through the hole, where Najee was just up in the hole before that hole even opened up or didn't open up. And let's face it.
And you'll agree with me too. It seems like there's way too many play calls designed with Najee, with him going to the outside. Najee's not an outside runner. Najee is a between the tackles, straight line runner. He should not be going to the outside towards the sidelines. He needs to be moving forward.
I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that. The one thing that I do like that they've brought into play is the toss. I think Najee really thrives on that toss, and we've seen it so far this year. But it's also when that toss is called. As far as him running off tackle, it seems to me like that it's a little vanilla in the blocking scheme when it comes to him running off tackle, off guard. Up the middle seems to be the only thing that he's getting any real yardage out of. So again, I think there's some work to be done, but let's face it, too, guys.
It's only going to get harder now.
Well, yeah, we had a full rookie line except for Dan Moore, and we went ahead and we've lost Mr. Daniels now.
Yeah, tough
for the year. So, and we haven't got her big back yet either. We're already down Celie Malo. So, I mean. Yeah,
he's probably the closest to coming back, but he's still weeks away.
He's still weeks away. So, at the same time, we've got speed and athleticism in this young group, but what we lack is a little bit of experience. Now, as far as my instant reaction goes, my first reaction is when we walked into there, for whatever reason, I woke up in the morning and thought, today's going to be that game where I think this is gonna test us. We're gonna face a little adversity, and it's going to be interesting to see how we respond in this game, because this game is very, very beatable. However, that hit us in the mouth right off the get-go, 14-0. And I can't help but think to myself, as I'm watching the game, man, these refs are really dictating this game in a negative way against the Steelers and more towards the Colts. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, is it really that blatant anymore in the NFL that we're just going to call this shit and call it a penalty? I'm a little disappointed at that, but then I had to stop and say, you know what, though? It's not us, guys. It's not us. We're not going to sit here and blame the official.
It's everywhere.
We had the hand dealt, and this here, the reason we lost this game, and the sole reason we lost this game, and it has not been fixed since training camp, and I blame one person and one person only, and that is the man everybody wants to give praise to, Mr. Justin Fields. This should be called the bad snap game. He started the goddamn game with a bad snap, and he lost the game with a bad snap. And it's because of his inability to carry a team on his shoulders is the reason why we had 2 bad snaps. Now, what he did in between, nice little fluff and duff here and there, but at the end of the day, that loss is solely on Mr. Fields' shoulders. And if this was Ben Roethlisberger, he would have took us and won that. Now, I understand Fields hasn't had these many opportunities for fourth quarter comebacks. Matter of fact, I think if you look at his record, he might still have a great big goose egg. He had his opportunity. He'll get more, but this game was won and lost with Justin Fields.
First of all, I don't agree with what you say, obviously.
I didn't think you would, because you're over there waving the Justin Field banner.
That was a bad snap count. I don't think it was just solely on Justin Fields. I think there should have been some sort of a job briefing or whatever, that they had what was supposed to be the snap count figured out by then. And this has happened game after game. They should be working on this together, but that could be coaching as well. It can't just necessarily be Justin Fields. And for
he admitted it. He admitted it, Freight Train. He said, I fucked up. I lifted
well,
my leg.
That's what a leader does.
My leg. That's the signal.
I like that. I like my franchise quarterback taking responsibility. I like that a lot. Not just putting it on your teammates. He takes fully upon himself. Second of all, this would be a whole different change of tune if George Pickens holds onto the ball at the 20 or the 15-yard line there in that first quarter, and we end that drive with points. That's not Justin Fields' fault. That's George Pickens' fault for turning the ball over in the red zone when for the rest of the game we were good in the red zone. We probably would have ended that point with a touchdown rather than no points at all with a turnover when he should have had the ball squarely in both his hands. That's not Justin Fields' fault. Justin Fields is the reason why
we're going to blame this loss on George Pickens trying to outstretch to get more yards.
He has some blame there. Yes, absolutely.
Well, he wasn't really holding onto the ball with 2 hands there.
Of course he does.
He wasn't holding onto the ball, was he?
Yeah, he's handing it out to them.
And actually, he had caught the ball and come down and was trying to outstretch when they spun him and then come in from behind him and hit the ball, knock the ball back into play.
No, you got to bring that back. You got to bring the ball back to your body. You just have to do that. But it's not just him. It's not just Fields. It's not just George Pickens. TJ Watt gets some blame in this. Minka Fitzpatrick gets some blame in this.
Now, why does TJ blame get some Watt? Because I want to know what you've seen with TJ, because the one thing that I seen with TJ, which kind of irritated me, goes back to the refereeing, is TJ got tired of putting himself out there and being clotheslined, held, and tackled. Hell, the one time I watched him grab him by the waistline and said, come back here, boy, as he's running. And they did not call one flag on my boy TJ.
He's used to that. That happens.
No. He may be used to it, but when you're not going to call it to give him a fair chance, and by the time the third quarter rolls around, you are dog dick tired. He can't do that. And I don't want him to. I don't need him hurt.
Honestly, I put the majority of the blame. I think it was just bad coaching. I think this game had some bad coaching in it.
The bad
was
coaching
zero
part was
touching.
where we decided to put Terrell Edmonds in the game.
Yeah, well, at
Yeah.
that point,
Well,
Now,
the
but
coaching
wait a
should have
second.
done something.
that wasn't even the worst part.
But now, so we're going back to Pickens and bad coaching. So man, we're kind of all over the board here. Is it bad coaching or is it an individual players? Hey, we can sit here and say it's a team effort. By George, I'll give you that team
Win
effort.
as a team, we lose as a team, right? Isn't that the mantra?
Yep. We win as a team, we lose as a team, and I'll even go ahead and I'll take on the defense because we got back to what was it? Tied it back up, or not tied it back up? Got within 7 points there in the third quarter, only to give the Colts back the ball and watch them march back down and put up another 7 on us. That was inexcusable. That I'll give you coaching because that was inexcusable. But to then turn around and come back again, get us within 7, and then the defense comes out and does their job. And then Austin, not Terrell, Calvin, beautiful 30-yard run. All he needed was one block. By the way, Mr. Connor, next time get that block. And that's 7 points, and we're not even talking about this anymore. However, I'm going to take it right back to Justin Fields again. Everybody who's giving Broderick Jones shit right now, that young man at least came to play and knew what he was up against. Pointed to where the blitz was coming from. Pointed. That is your quarterback's job to pick that up and know where the blocking scheme was. And instead, what does he do? In the NFL, where the rush comes from, you throw it into the rush. What does he do? He turns to the opposite side of the field, eyes on it, and by the time he looks back, because he had Austin, and he also had Connors right there in the flats, that would have been a first down. Instead, he's going to play Benny Hill and run backwards like he's running from a bunch of love-crazed teenage girls, only to do what? Oh, that's right. Fumble the ball for the how many times?
He was down. That was part of the bad officiating because his knee was down and he gave himself up and they punched him.
He looked down to me.
If you go back on that play, and it could have went either way, you want to know what they called it on? Him switching the ball from his right hand to his left hand. If
as
he
his
would have
knees down and he's in the fetal position.
If he would have kept it, first of all, if he wouldn't have tried to get back up and just fell on the ball, we're not even talking about it. But instead, he tried to make a play. He tried to switch the ball from his right to his left, made it look like he had no control. That's one thing in the NFL will give you. No control of the ball, whether his knee hit it or not. He was moving the ball from left to right, fumble every time.
So what you're saying is
Justin Fields lost this game? Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
It's not over. Even though he just went 22 of 34 for 312 yards.
That means absolutely nothing. It's a loss. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. That's all garbage time.
So he gave up 27 points
as well. That's all garbage
time. Sorry, Justin. You got to do it all.
Yeah.
No, that's the problem, and I'm glad you said that. When he was in Chicago, they made him do it all. And every time he had to do it all, something dumb and crazy happens to where he lost the game. He's not ready to make it do it all, and that's the position we put him in. That's why he's been successful for 3 weeks. We put him in a bad situation. He shouldn't have had to carry the ball on his shoulders. He should have had better running out of Najee. Huh?
He had a rating of 104.
He's been averaging 90.
That's the best quarterback play we've had in 4 years. That's the best quarterback play we've had in 4 years.
I'm not saying it's not, but what I'm saying is he lost us that game.
I don't know. Our defense should have never put him in that position to begin with.
I do know. It was a mixture. Well, we'll agree to disagree.
Well, that's fine.
We'll agree to disagree.
Okay, so the defense. Let's talk about the defense.
Yeah, let's talk the defense. What do you want to say about it?
You tell me. You the one brought it up.
Okay. So our defense did pretty well. You did mention that TJ Watt was kind of a bit invisible. He was being held most of the time,
You
but
say they did pretty well?
well, I'm saying
Yeah,
Watt
I'm
was held most
confused
of
as
the
well,
time.
Freight Train.
Well, they didn't do so well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, man, help me.
Preach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So TA's the one who's acting like it wasn't the defense's fault. So I want to hear what he has to say.
oh no. Hey, first of all, I didn't say it wasn't the defensive fault.
Okay.
I'll go first.
I'm saying who lost the game is Justin Fields.
Okay, gotcha.
Defense did not help him,
I'll go
but
first.
Fields is the one who lost the game.
Okay, got it.
Now, when you look at the rushing, 88 yards, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
You'll take that. You'll take that.
I'll take that. Held him under 100 yards? Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, I'm kind of glad that Anthony Richardson got hurt because Lord only knows he already had 24 yards wrapped up on us before his injury. This could have been a whole lot uglier because the one thing that we wasn't doing was stopping them at the second level. Because let's face it, Deshaun Elliott, Minka Fitzpatrick were our leading tacklers for a total of 21 tackles.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Exactly, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
and I'll take it one step farther, TA. I think Joey Porter Jr. had one of his worst games as a pro. I mean, Michael Pittman took him for all he was worth. I will say Joey Porter definitely has dad's football mentality, but he got cousin Ike's hands or Uncle Ike's hands because that was a give-me interception he should have had there in the first quarter, and he just lets it slip by.
There was another one.
You got to be able to seize those moments if you want to be a top cornerback in the league, Joey. You have to be able to seize those moments and get those turnovers. I was a little bit disappointed to see that, but there was a couple of interceptions that we should have had, and we just dropped the ball that could have turned the tide on the football game. The mantra of this game with the defense was they didn't seize the moments that they should have seized to flip the on this.
Yeah, it just slipped through their hands. There was a fumble too that we had, and then it got ripped out of our hands somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick McQueen was going the opposite direction on that play.
Yeah.
And that was a tough one for him to kind of hold on to. But I agree with you on the seize the moment thing. And the one thing that I'll say about Joey that you had made mention, with his dad's football smarts comes another thing. When he gets mad and upset, it throws him off balance. And that pass interference call that they called against him should have never, ever been called. I do not even know what they seen on that play. First of all, he was 10 yards off of the guy or 8 yards off of the guy. That guy came and ran and out. He actually
didn't even bump him off
into
the
him.
route.
If that was basketball, that'd have been traveling, right?
He didn't even move the guy. You know what I mean? He didn't impede anything.
Absolutely not, because the guy ran into him, and then he turned around, caught the out, and they threw the flag.
Yeah.
Now, again, that was one of those calls that I thought, something's just not right in NFL land here. But all right, we'll continue watching. But unfortunately, what did unravel after that is Joey's mentality. And Joey's got to learn to be better than that in those kind of situations. Kind of like Minka needs to also continue to learn to be like that in those situations. Because one thing I'll say about Minka, man, that guy plays hard and he knows when to give up. On the one quarterback, he caught the guy and everybody was screaming, well, that almost looked like that was roughing the passer. No, he squatted down. He caught the quarterback. That was a good one.
It was a late slide too.
It was a late slide. It absolutely was a late slide. And that could have been a lot worse, but that was a professional right there. And even on that one long bomb, Sartori was absolutely correct. You cannot play the safety position at 100 miles an hour and expect them to come in. And you can tell that he held up and changed his projection to not make that hit. That was another bad call. But again, Not here to blame the calls, blame the referees, but I will say this.
You don't have to worry. We don't get fined on this show when we talk bad about the referee.
No, you're right. But here's the one thing that I will want to say, that if I look at that middle of the line, Hayward, Wilson, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, all of those guys played a hell of a job to try to stop it. After that, though, we were getting caught up in the wash, man. Mm-hmm. And for TJ Watt and Nick Herbig to only end up with 2 tackles apiece, to be outled by Terrell Edmonds, guys, it was not a good sign for our outside linebackers.
No, not a good showing whatsoever.
No.
They only had 1 sack, and they shared it with each other. I think it was it Ogunjobi and
they ended up giving that one to Bishop, I think.
Yeah, Ogunjobi and Bishop are the only ones that had a sniff of a sack.
Nope.
Well,
Cameron had one. Cam did. Cam come in there and he wrapped him up. You don't remember that?
That's right. We had 2. Yeah.
He said, "Welcome back, Joe. We missed you." And I was a little afraid we was going to end up seeing Flacco in this game, and we did. Mm-hmm. Son of a gun, man.
TA, we're gonna have to stop you from talking because whatever you say happens now.
Yeah, we got to watch some of this stuff. But with all of that being said, at the end of the day, guys, we stunk. And this should have not been. The only thing I can hope for is that we learn from our mistakes on this one.
Well, you better, because you're coming up against a formidable opponent this week.
Yep, tough game.
Offensively, I will say. Defensively, they're not as good, but
just
neither was the 31st ranked Colts either. So,
Parsons is out though, so we might have a chance.
But honestly, guys, it just boiled down to way too many miscues and wasted opportunities to pull this one out.
Yeah, we just let it slip through our hands. There are a lot of missed opportunities. Tough game for us.
Then they're like back to the coaching TA. I know it's in a dome, and Boz has been booting the ball like hell. There was one instance, it would have been about a 60-yard field goal there in the first quarter or in the first half, and we decided to punt the ball rather than put arguably one of the best kickers in the NFL on the field and booting a 60-yarder. 60-yarders are pretty common in today's NFL. I want to let Mike Tomlin know that. Like, it's not the NFL of 5-10 years ago where it was unheard of if kickers kicking 60-yard field goals. Now it's become a norm. Like, you get the ball around that area, send them out. Mm-hmm. That just told me right there that, we're going to live in our fears, and I'm just going to let my defense bail me out like they always do. Let the defense
do you think any of that has to do with a few weeks ago when Tomlin did send him out and he shanked it?
Can't live in your fears, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't.
Well, it's weird because he actually went for 4th and 1 this game, but he was not willing to be aggressive at that point, which is weird.
4th and 1 in our territory.
Yeah, he's willing to go for that, but he won't go for the field goal that's like 58 yards,
And in a dome.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I like
my
odds.
Also a challenge he didn't. There was like a third. We had a 3rd down, and he didn't go and challenge that one. But he also challenged a dumb play. It was clearly a catch, or wasn't.
Yeah. The whole last drive there was just a debacle too. You had the snap off the face mask. Najee not going out of bounds with 30 seconds left on the clock for us to huddle up and call an actual play.
I got a question to ask you on that play. All right, let's just talk about that. The play is until the whistle's dead. Najee was still on his feet. He had caught the ball, and the defender pushed him out of bounds.
No, he didn't. Go back and look at it. Najee stopped. He stopped his momentum inbounds, and the defender pushed him out.
I understand that.
Now they changed the rule. You have to actually be moving, going forward out of bounds for the clock to stop. If you stop and you go sideways or backwards, the clock continues to run.
So that's a new rule.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll give you
that. And that falls on, I don't know if that falls on Najee or that falls on coaching, not telling their players, like, hey, when you go out of bounds, you have to be moving.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say that that's probably a little bit of both.
But just, I mean, you get this stuff out in preseason. I don't understand why it's coming out on the 4th game of the season. But
well, look, I will say this: the Steelers this year have done a lot to bring in the officiating and have them oversee a lot of our practices, probably more so than any other team in the NFL. So it's not necessarily from a lack of trying. I'll give him that. But at the end of the day, we have to play betterly sound, especially in those moments. And we had plenty of time to march down the field and put 3 on the board. And it just didn't happen. Just didn't happen. Well, guys, we can sit here and we can beat this one to death, or we can go ahead and wrap it up. Freight Train, final words. Go ahead. Here's where you get to go ahead. Give your boy some lovin's. I know I was rough on him today. Give him some lovin's. Go ahead, Freight Train. Give him to him.
I think the more time that you get to settle down and look on it, you'll change your tune a little bit. But honestly, guys, this just, for me, it was just opportunities missed, not getting off the field on weighty downs, as Mike Tomlin likes to call it. Just some unnecessary sloppiness in this game that ultimately cost you a game, especially with having your best quarterback play you've had in years. You just had a lot going on that you could have won this football game. As sloppy as it was, you could have won the football game, but you didn't take advantage of opportunities that were hitting you right in the hands. And that's what it boiled down to. So hopefully they take it as a learning lesson. I'm not going to hit the panic button. I'm not going to be like that idiot Chris Canty on the ESPN and calling the Steelers frauds, because that guy's a fraud. But, we're still 3-1. We got a good lead in the division. Well, one game, because Baltimore won yesterday. But we'll see it. We'll see how we do against the Cowboys.
Yep. I just don't panic. We're still 3-1, leading the AFC North. We only lost by 3 points. It was a close game. I thought, I'm not really worried about the defense. I think they'll, get back to where they were. It's just a bad day for them. And I really liked what I saw from Justin Fields, and, take what he gave us and call it a day. He looks good. Those 3 touchdowns really helped us. And yeah, I hope he can continue that going into the Cowboys game.
So, even though I was hard on him, I too did like what I seen from Justin. I would like to see those numbers become the norm, because I think the kid has it in him to make those numbers the norm. Coaching has got to continue to take off the training wheels and quit talking about a fast start and make a fast start happen. And the Pittsburgh Steelers got a little wake-up call. They preach about physicality. They got out-physicaled. That should never, ever, ever happen again against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope they realize they got soft and that this is a good wake-up call early in the season, because it is a grind and it is a learning path to achievement, period.
Okay. I thought you were a lot of loss of words there.
No. There was a couple things I wanted to say, and I thought I better just dumb it down again.
Yeah.
With that being said, I myself going to take a little time off. Freight Train is going to take a little time off, and you're going to have the Hijacker, JT, and Kitch coming up for a little pregame on Thursday. However, tune in. PSF for the A team in announcement. The Steelers realm will be on the PSF during the Dallas game, listening to us cuss, scream, swear. God bless you, Steelers Nation. And by the way, for all you who did show up at that Colts game, God bless you guys for having to go through that torment. But I did like your spirit out there. Good night, Steelers Nation.
Amen. Steelers Nation, we got hit in the mouth. That's okay. We'll come back. We got the Dallas Cowgirls coming into town next week at Sunday Night Football. It's going to be exciting, an exciting atmosphere. Can't wait to talk to you guys on PSF. But have a good rest of your week.
Yep. Have a good weekend. Keep it rolling.
Why it's not.
Check back next week into the Steelers realm.